You then made the transition to go buy Keller Williams.
Mm-hmm.
Was that really just to further feed the beast, or was there some other reason for doing that?
Honestly, if I'm being candid, it was pride.
Oh, so an ego-driven.
It was an ego-driven move, which cost me 7 figures, to be candid with you.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was not good. And so we went, and I mean, because I was a realtor, right? Like, I was a realtor, and people would say like, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, I sell real estate." "Oh, I sell real estate." And I was like, "No, I want to be the owner of the company. I own Keller Williams. I own I have 250 agents that work for me."
Right.
And then it's a long story that we don't need to get in the weeds about, but I had 2 other partners and they wanted to sell and I didn't want to. And this was, 08, 9, 10, when the market was crashing, everyone was losing money. And they're like, "Hey, we can't keep paying bills and we need help and we need to get out." And so they ended up selling the company to Coldwell Banker at the time.
Yeah.
And then I lost it, I lost all of it, all the investment. And I was the one carrying it, paying all the bills, doing everything, and lost all the agents, lost everything. And so it was a good learning experience of that pride cost me a lot of money.
Wow. I heard a quote the other day that said, if you seek significance, then you'll find success.
Yeah.
But if you seek prominence, then it's the path to arrogance.
Mm.
And
So
man,
good.
it's such a thin line.
Yeah.
It's so thin.
Yeah.
You constantly have to check yourself.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. I can relate to being like, no, I got to be the guy that owns it. But there's to whom much is given, much is expected. It's
Absolutely.
You're not even selling real estate at that point.
No,
right? You're
no.
just managing people and process and finances and P&Ls and.
Well, and you realize like how much of your income comes from that action, and then how much time drain was involved with the agent that wrote a contract that was bad, the angry consumer that's calling you, trying to recruit new agents, the agent that's trying to leave that you're trying to retain.
Ugh.
And you're like, I'm taking my eye off the ball that actually makes me money, that has built the machine, and I'm dealing with something else that's, I call it $5 an hour work. That's like, it's such a low yield that it doesn't make sense.
Dang, dude. So good. If you could go back and tell yourself in that moment when you're making that decision, a piece of wisdom, what would you have said?
Just don't do things out of pride. Like, make sure that it's a good business decision, that the numbers make sense and it's profitable, not that you're doing it to have a plaque on a door or, a ego driven thing that comes out of it, because it's probably not going to end well. And if that's where you wrap your identity up in, then when it's gone, then are you nothing now?
How did you handle it? Was it tough?
No.
You were good.
I had a handful of staff people, and literally they got mad at me because they're like, "Sue them, we can go after them. That was wrong what they did." And I'm talking about like people coming in and like, "Get your box of your stuff and you guys we're walking you outside" type stuff, because they sold it behind my back, right?
Because you were the minority partner.
Well, we each owned a third, right?
So there was some sort of decision making control in the operating agreement.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that was a lesson of like, unanimous is not ideal, right, for dissolving companies. And they had unanimous, and they sold all the assets, which was the realtors and the chairs and all that stuff. And so.
Dang.
No, I was like, you know what? It's not meant for me, and we're going to keep going. And I'm not going to just sit here and like cry and be mad and get in lawsuits and do all that stuff. And some of my team members were like, "This is ridiculous. You need to go after them." And I'm like, no, I would say totally candidly, I bet I was mad for like 48 hours. And then I was like, all right, well, what's next? Because the gift when you look back on that is that I pivoted into something much bigger. But being able to quickly pivot in life is like, it's a huge, huge blessing.
Yeah.
And not being, again, that attachment of like, oh, this is who I am, this is what I am. It's like, no, let's pivot. All right, well, what's next? This has happened to me. And so how do I go out and utilize that for the best of my family and those around me? So.
Hey, if you guys enjoyed that clip, go ahead and click the link in the comments to watch the full show, or you can see a couple other clips from the show right here.